Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the SNP are up to it again. It's their same old tricks. It's all to do with schools, it's all to do with toilets, and now it's the very young. They're trying to push kids as young as 5 into gender neutral toilets. Now, we all know what the P stands for in the SNP: predators, peds, and pervs. And that is why they keep doing this with children. They keep pushing this with this obsession they have with the sexualization of children. Now, what they're attempting to do is say that toilets will be gender neutral and that boys and girls have to get next to each other when they're having a pee and things like that, to normalise exposure of genitals in very young children to each other. And one wonders if the teachers themselves will be going in and using these same gender neutral toilets. So a young girl will be in having a pee, and then a teacher walks in and gets his old cock out in front of her, but say, hey, it's gender neutral, everything is fine. That seems to be the direction of travel in Scotland in the schools. So if you have got a child or a grandchild in a school in Scotland, make sure that the children aren't going to have this foisted upon them simply because of the lunatic left and their obsession with sexualising your children. Let's take a look. Now, do please hit that subscribe button, because it's stories like this that you need to be aware of, and if you don't know about them, how can you possibly fight them? Kids as young as 5 are dragged into toxic debate on gender neutral toilets in schools. Now, I will point out that not only does the European Convention on Human Rights talk about this, but the United Nations Charter also talks about this, and it talks about children having access to clean, safe sanitation. And it also talks about having dignity when doing so. And so, for example, and you see this in schools, when teachers refuse to allow a pupil to go to the toilet during lessons, say, that's in breach of the European Convention on Human Rights. And when a girl who's on her period, say, also needs to go, and then is questioned why and has to admit, I'm leaking, I'm bleeding, that again is a reduction and humiliation of that girl. And that also is in breach of the European Convention of Human Rights and the UN Charter on the Child. So these teachers who are so full of themselves and so filled with their own idea of what powers they have, and who impose these things on children, are actually breaking the law, and they do need to be prosecuted for it very, very severely. And any breach of the European Convention on Human Rights has a particularly good punishment, up to life. And so these teachers need to be aware of this. But to then force children of the same sex into the same facilities at the same time is also currently a breach of Scottish law, which insists that there are, 2 toilets, one for each gender, for every 15 children, to a maximum of 60 children, and they must be separate unless there is a single-use facility which is lockable and can be used by only one person at a time. I've checked before I went and created this video that is the law. And yet now they're looking to change that, and they're looking to put children of the same sex into the same facilities to normalise the exposure of each other's genitals to very young children. And there's only one reason they're doing this, and it's probably come off the backs of Maggot Chapman or someone like that. They do so enjoy sexualising children. But that's who you keep voting for, all you SNPers. All you people who vote for the SNP. This is what you're voting for. You're voting to sexualise your own children so that adults in the SNP and in the Green Party can benefit from that sexualisation. Good job. Anyway, one Scottish council has launched a consultation on gender neutral facilities, with teachers urged to ask their pupils what they think about going for a pee to a member of the opposite sex. Are these teachers pedophiles? Because I think they are. If you're getting teachers to ask very young children about their toilet habits and what their preferences are, then red flags everywhere. Surely. Scots primary school kids aged 5 are being dragged into the toxic debate over gender-neutral toilets, it can be revealed. Aberdeenshire Council is seeking public views on lavatory provision amid claims that gender-neutral facilities to accommodate the needs and rights of transgender people place women at a significant disadvantage. There is no such thing as transgender children. You have mentally ill parents, but that's it. The council say they want to develop a policy about toilet and sanitary provision in any new or refurbished council buildings and have launched a survey to gauge public opinion, and teachers are being told to ask youngsters whether they're happy to share toilets with pupils of the opposite sex. Opposite, therefore binary. And if they are the opposite sex, then boys don't want any girls in there and girls don't want any boys in there. And if a boy goes in, regardless of what he's wearing, he's still a boy, he shouldn't be in with the girls. The council survey says we have created a short survey to help us learn what toilet provisions people would like to see in any council-owned buildings. It's simple. A ladies' toilet for ladies and a gents' toilet for gents. And it doesn't matter what clothes you are wearing, because a woman can be wearing trousers. That does not a man make. Gender-neutral toilets have become a key battleground in the culture wars between women and trans rights, with feminist campaigners insisting that women have a right to single-sex spaces to ensure female safety and dignity, and damn well right they do have. And any man who walked into a toilet wherein my wife was currently being wouldn't be walking out. Trans activists say trans women, men who pretend to be women, should be allowed access to female toilets and changing rooms. I say no, they shouldn't. They are men. Campaigners insist it is entirely inappropriate for children to be surveyed on the type of toilet provision they prefer. It is. The only people who want these questions are the ones with very, very obsessive interest in the sexualisation of children. It's as simple as that. If you are questioning children on their toiletry needs, outside of, oh, what's up, Johnny? Do you need to go to the loo? Beyond that, what do you like to do in the toilet? Do you want to sit next to a lady in the toilet? Do you want to see young girls in the toilet next to you, Johnny? Yeah. We know what they are. And this removes dignity. This removes privacy. This removes safety. And it is absolutely worrying that these people want to get away with it. Helen Joyce, Director of Advocacy at Sex Matters, a human rights-based organisation that campaigns for clarity of sex in law, said it is completely wrong to ask primary school children for their views on single-sex spaces like toilets. I think it's immoral, unethical, dangerous, and I would suggest that the people asking need to be on a register and certainly need to be kept well away from children. She said these spaces exist to keep children safe, and child safeguarding is the responsibility of adults, not children. It is disgraceful, she says, to see adults abdicate responsibility by surveying children like this. It's the job of the council and education professionals, quite literally, to be the adults in the room. I wouldn't want them adults in a room with children. The children would definitely not be safe with that lot there. So no matter what the latest fashionable ideology says, there are two and only two sexes, and all children, except the very youngest, need and deserve toilets reserved for their sex that no one of the opposite sex can enter. This survey is both unnecessary and ideologically driven. The only use of the feedback from children will be to indicate the extent of gender ideology indoctrination in Aberdeenshire's schools. They're indoctrinating children. They're normalising this because they are desperate to sexualise children. And I've done so many videos on this, and it is utterly degenerate and filth-ridden. But that's who you keep voting in. Stop voting PEDs into power. I'm coming up. Unless this kind of thing is fought time and time again, unflinchingly, unceasingly rejected, it will continue until eventually P is normalised and they will have won. And you might as well just be handing over your children day one to these people, these filth. I'm not going to go on anymore because it'll get me angry. I will stop. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, and remember, unless you fight it, they will win. Bye.